In today's video, I'm going to share with you a technique so powerful that once you start using it, you might feel like you're cheating the system. It's almost unfair how effective it is. This isn't some gimmick or complicated psychological trick. It's actually very simple and something anyone can do. If you've been following me for a while, you already know that I've dedicated years to studying human behavior and, in particular, the psychology of women. Through all of this, I've discovered countless strategies to connect and build attraction. But this one stands out because it's not just effective, it's easy to apply in almost any situation. When I first started engaging with women more intentionally, something surprising happened. Over time, I noticed that our conversations naturally gravitated toward a specific topic: relationships. At first, I didn't think much of it, but as I kept having these discussions, a light bulb went off in my head. There was something special about this topic that made the energy between us shift. Everything became more fluid, fun, and engaging. It wasn't just me steering the conversation in that direction either. It was mutual. So, why does this happen? That's what I want to dive into today, because understanding why this works is just as important as knowing how to use it. Let's break it down. First off, here's something you may not realize. Women love talking about relationships. And when I say love, I mean it's a topic they're naturally drawn to in a way that feels almost instinctive. But this isn't just some quirky personality trait. It's deeply rooted in how women think and what they value. Let me explain. As a woman matures, one of the most foundational goals in her life becomes finding the right partner. This isn't a superficial goal or a societal expectation. It's a deeply ingrained part of human nature, even in today's modern world, where career ambitions and independence are highly valued, and rightly so. This desire for meaningful connection remains. It's an instinct that's hardwired into her psychology, and it's one of the reasons why relationships hold such a central place in her thoughts and conversations. Think about it like this. From the moment a girl becomes socially aware, she starts discussing relationships, whether it's with her best friends in middle school, gossiping about crushes, or sharing insights as an adult about past experiences and future hopes. By the time she's in her 20s or 30s, she's already spent years dissecting this topic from every angle. So, when you bring it up in conversation, it's like opening a door to a world she's incredibly familiar with and eager to explore. Now, here's where this becomes especially powerful. Relationships aren't just a topic women enjoy. They're also a highly emotional subject. And as I've shared before in the How to Attract Women series, emotions are the key to connection. When you engage a woman in a conversation about relationships, you're not just discussing a topic she likes. You're tapping into something that's deeply personal and meaningful to her. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine you're passionate about something, say, politics or sports. You've read all the books, watched all the videos, and debated it endlessly with your friends. One day, you meet someone who shares your enthusiasm and starts asking for your opinions. How would you feel? Energized, excited, maybe even validated, right? That's exactly what happens when you start talking to a woman about relationships. It's like hitting the on switch for her enthusiasm, and the conversation flows naturally from there. But let me take this a step further. Not only do women love talking about relationships, but they also have a unique perspective on the subject. This is because relationships often occupy a central place in their lives, not just as an abstract idea, but as a lived experience. When women get together, whether it's over brunch or during a late-night phone call, relationships are almost always the main topic of discussion. It's where they exchange stories, share advice, and reflect on their own experiences. Now, let me pause here to share a key insight that could completely change the way you approach conversations with women. When you talk about relationships, you're not just discussing a topic. They're sharing a piece of themselves with you. This is why this technique is so effective. It's not just about the words you say. It's about creating a space where she feels heard, understood, and emotionally connected. Here's an important tip. Don't overuse this technique. Think of it as your secret weapon for when the conversation slows down or hits an awkward silence. You know those moments when the energy dips and you're not sure what to say next? Instead of panicking or resorting to small talk, bring up relationships. Trust me, it's like flipping a switch that reignites the conversation and keeps things flowing effortlessly. Let me share a personal story to illustrate how powerful this can be. One night, I was at a house party surrounded by a group of incredibly attractive women. The vibe was great, and the conversations were lively. But as the night went on, the group naturally started talking about relationships. At first, the discussion was pretty typical: why some guys struggle to commit, what makes a relationship work, that sort of thing. But then, one woman said something that completely shifted the dynamic. She said, "I don't want to make a guy commit to me. I just want to be the kind of woman he wants to commit to." That statement hit me like a ton of bricks. It was such a refreshing perspective, one that wasn't about manipulation or control, but about self-improvement and authenticity. It wasn't about chasing after someone or forcing a relationship to happen. Instead, it was about becoming the best version of yourself so that the right connection naturally follows. That moment taught me an important lesson. When you engage in conversations about relationships, you're not just talking about dating, you're exploring values, desires, and what truly matters to the other person. It's a gateway to understanding someone on a much deeper level. So, here's the takeaway. Talking about relationships isn't just a strategy to keep the conversation going. It's a way to create a genuine connection, to engage her emotionally, and to leave a lasting impression. And the best part? The more you practice this, the more natural it will feel, and the better you'll get at building those connections effortlessly. With that said, let's dive into the next part of the video, where I'll break this down even further and share some practical tips for using this technique in your own life. I loved her perspective. It truly stuck with me. In that moment, I thought to myself, if I had to choose someone here tonight, it would be her. She had this self-assured yet refreshing energy that made her stand out from the rest of the group. Then, I did something that sealed the deal. I said 7 simple words that shifted the dynamic between us entirely. You know what? I love that you said that. I could see you as my girlfriend. Now, let's break that down. It wasn't just about the words themselves, but how I said them. My tone was casual yet playful, like I was serious, but not too serious. It was flirtatious, but not overbearing. The perfect balance. And guess what? She loved it. I could see the shift in her body language and the way her eyes lit up. From that point on, she ignored everyone else and focused entirely on me for the rest of the night. But what happened next is where the real magic started. We dove into a playful, imaginative conversation about our future relationship. It was part serious, part fun, and entirely captivating. We joked about how she'd try to win me over, how we'd fall head over heels in love, and how, despite her moving in with me way too quickly, we'd somehow make it all work. We painted a whole picture together. We laughed about how I'd give up most of my bathroom counter space for her makeup because, of course, I care about her that much. We dreamed up our first Christmas together, spending it with her family, and our first Thanksgiving, which we'd spend with mine. We even planned our wedding, picturing a dreamy honeymoon in Greece, with whitewashed buildings and endless blue water as the backdrop. This conversation lasted for hours, and we didn't just talk, we connected. It felt effortless, natural, and so much fun. And here's the important part. This wasn't just a one-off moment. Over time, I started using this style of conversation intentionally. It became a technique I leaned on to create meaningful, exciting, and passionate conversations with women, conversations that didn't just entertain but actually led somewhere. This technique has a name: future pacing. If you've been following my series, you might remember when I explained that women often look for commitment in a man, whether consciously or subconsciously. Future pacing taps into that deep desire for connection and commitment by helping her imagine what it would be like to experience those things with you. Interestingly, I didn't come across future pacing while studying dating. It actually came from my time learning about marketing psychology. In sales, future pacing is a technique professionals use to inspire action by helping someone emotionally connect to what their life could look like after they make a decision. Here's how it works in sales. Let's say you're at a car dealership. A great salesperson doesn't just rattle off the technical specs of a car. Instead, They take you for a test drive so you can feel what it's like behind the wheel. If they're really skilled, they'll ask about your life and what you value. Then use that information to help you picture owning the car. They might say things like, "Imagine your wife smiling as you pull up in this beauty." Or think about how much space your kids would have in the back seat for road trips. Or maybe they'll go all in on the thrill of driving, saying, "Picture yourself pressing down on the gas, feeling the raw power of 300 horsepower as you're pushed back into the leather seat." Why do they do this? Because once they give you the emotional experience of ownership, your mind starts associating the car with a future version of yourself. That emotional connection makes it much harder to say no. The same concept applies to dating. Future pacing, when used right, lets you create a vivid emotional connection between you and a woman by helping her imagine what being with you would be like. The trick is to tailor it to whatever stage of commitment you're at with her. It's about giving her a glimpse of a possible future together before it happens. And it works like magic. Let me break it down into the 3 main stages where future pacing is most effective. Getting her to want your approval. Casual dating. Becoming her boyfriend. Stage 1. Getting her to want your approval. At this stage, you're just starting to flirt and build attraction. The goal is to spark curiosity and create a sense of possibility. For example, you could say something playful like, "I can already tell we're going to get into so much trouble together." This kind of statement isn't just flirty, it plants a seed in her mind. Now she's imagining what kind of trouble you're talking about, and it creates a sense of intrigue. Stage 2. Casual dating. Once you've moved past the initial flirting stage and started spending more time together, you can use future pacing to build a stronger connection. For instance, if she does something impressive or cute, you could say, "I could totally see you as my girlfriend." Say it with a mix of sincerity and playfulness. It shouldn't feel like a heavy or desperate statement, but more like a fun observation. Stage 3. Becoming her boyfriend. When things are starting to get serious, future pacing can help her visualize taking the next step with you. During a conversation, you might casually ask questions like, "Do you think it's important to live together before marriage?" Or "What's your dream wedding like? Where would you want to go for your honeymoon?" These aren't direct proposals, they're playful. No pressure ways to help her imagine what a committed relationship with you could look like. A word of caution: while future pacing is powerful, it's essential to use it sparingly and with the right balance. Don't overdo it or lay it on too thick. The goal is to keep things fun, lighthearted, and engaging, not to make her feel pressured or overwhelmed. Most importantly, avoid falling into the trap of giving her too much validation or showing her that you want her too much. Confidence and mystery are key. Drop these playful hints occasionally, but don't make it the focus of every conversation. Remember, the magic of future pacing lies in its subtlety. So, there you have it, a technique that's simple, effective, and incredibly fun to use. The next time you're with a woman, try incorporating a little future pacing into your conversation. You might just find that it takes things to an entirely new level. Now, let's get back to the video so I can show you exactly how to apply this in real-life scenarios. Let me give you even more examples to clarify how this works. Once a girl starts to like you, it's the perfect time to dive into conversations about relationships. Ask her open-ended, engaging questions like, "What do you look for in a boyfriend?" Or "What does your ideal relationship feel like?" This gets her thinking about what she truly values and sets the stage for a meaningful discussion. Then, share your own perspective. Tell her what kind of relationship you enjoy and what qualities you value in an ideal girlfriend. For example, you can say, "I love being with someone who accepts me for who I really am, someone who doesn't try to change me, but supports me in my mission and goals in life." Share something personal. Like, "To me, the best relationships are the ones where you can totally relax and just be yourself. I know I found the right person when we can sit in comfortable silence together and not feel like we always have to be on or super social." Paint her a vivid picture of the kind of moments you treasure. Tell her, "I love the balance of staying in one night, chilling in sweatpants and watching horror movies, and then the next night dressing up and going out for fancy dinner." Or say, "There's something amazing about being with someone who fits into my world seamlessly, someone who gets along with my friends." makes my family smile, and brings a sense of excitement and joy into my life. If you want to get playful, throw in a line like, I think you'd make an amazing wedding date. Maybe keep your plans open for next month. It's fun, lighthearted, and gives her a small test drive of what being in a relationship with you might feel like. When you talk about these scenarios, you're allowing her to imagine herself in that role. And more importantly, you're making her feel good about the idea of being with you. This creates a sense of security and intimacy, which is something women naturally crave in a relationship, even before it becomes official. When you use this technique effectively, you'll notice that it addresses a major frustration in casual dating: the fear of wasting time with someone who doesn't have serious intentions. That said, there's a critical point to remember. Only use this approach with a woman you genuinely want to be in a relationship with. If you're not serious about her, you're essentially manipulating her emotions, which is both unfair and unnecessary. So, be mindful of your intentions. On another note, I want to address something that I've been meaning to say for a while. It's about guys who feel the need to attract every woman they meet and immediately jump into trying to win her over. Here's a truth you need to hear. The type of women you attract directly reflects what you believe you deserve. If you find yourself struggling to attract the kind of woman you truly desire, chances are you're holding on to a negative inner belief. Maybe you don't consciously realize it, but deep down, you might think that attractive, high-quality women are out of your league. Here's the thing. The world around you is a mirror of the story you're telling yourself in your head. If you're not getting the results you want, it's likely because you don't fully believe you can achieve them. To break out of this mindset, ask yourself an important question: why? Why aren't you attracting the kind of women you want? More often than not, the answer will point back to the fact that you're not taking action. Maybe you're not putting yourself out there or approaching women who you find incredibly attractive because you've already convinced yourself that it's not going to work. But here's the truth: it's all in your head. The only thing standing between you and the kind of women you want to date is the mental block you've created for yourself. Once you change your belief system, everything else becomes so much easier. When you truly believe in your ability to attract what you want, your actions and energy will naturally align with that belief. Now, back to the main topic. Let's talk about what to do once you've started dating someone and you're ready to take things to the next level. This is where future pacing becomes especially powerful. Start by making plans further out into the future to build excitement and create a sense of anticipation. For example, buy tickets to a concert happening next month and tell her how much fun it's going to be. Say something like, "I just got us tickets to see band name. You're going to love it. It's going to be epic." If you've got a big family event coming up, like your brother's wedding, mention it casually and invite her to come along as your date. Say, "Hey, my brother's wedding is in a couple of months. I think you'd make the perfect date. Plus, my mom would love you." Or, if you're talking about long-term dreams, share your travel bucket list and let her imagine being part of those adventures. Say, "I've always wanted to visit Italy and explore the Amalfi Coast, but it would be so much better with a cute adventure buddy. Think you're up for the challenge?" The key here is to keep projecting positivity into the future and making her feel excited about what's coming next. When you frame these plans in a fun, easygoing way, you'll naturally strengthen the connection and build a deeper sense of intimacy. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you, if you've got any problems, questions, or specific challenges you're facing, let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you, and your input helps me figure out what topics to dive into in future episodes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.